Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the story of Naomi Osaka. We've got a detailed script here looking at her whole journey.
Absolutely. And Naomi Osaka, I mean, she's way more than just a top tennis player, right? She's a four-time Grand Slam champ, yes, but also a huge voice for mental health, just a really, really influential figure today.
Yeah, exactly. So our goal here is to kind of go beyond just the match results.
Yeah.
We want to understand the moments that really defined her path.
Right.
From her, well, pretty unconventional start in tennis, all the way to the impact she's had. Now this comeback everyone's watching.
Definitely. We'll look at how fast she rose that really intense 2018 US Open final.
Oh, yeah.
Her advocacy work, which was groundbreaking, and, what's next for her after becoming a mom. Plus, there are some details in her story that honestly might surprise even people who follow tennis closely.
Okay, sounds great. Let's dig in. Chapter 1, The Unlikely Beginnings. So she was born in '97 in Osaka, Japan. And right away, her background stands out. Haitian father, Japanese mother. That's not the usual story you hear in elite tennis circles, is it?
No, not at all. It's quite different from the norm. Usually you think of a huge financial investment, top coaches from day one, that kind of thing.
Right.
But Naomi's path, totally different. Her dad, Leonard Francois, he actually got inspired by Richard Williams, Venus, and Serena's father.
Really?
Yeah. And incredibly, he basically taught himself tennis using books, videos. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Coaching his daughters himself, aiming for the Grand Slam.
That's just amazing. Learning to coach at that level from scratch. And they were playing on public courts, right? In Florida.
Exactly. Public courts, not those fancy and high-pressure private academies where so many top players get their start.
What do you think that kind of upbringing, that environment maybe gave her? Something different?
That's a really good question. Maybe training like that outside the sort of intense academy system, it might build a different type of resilience, maybe more, resourcefulness.
Yeah, it could be.
It definitely points to a real love for the game driven by the family itself. And here's something interesting, a fact maybe not everyone knows. She was actually quite close to representing the U.S.
Oh.
Yeah, but apparently she felt a stronger cultural tie to Japan, especially it seems after feeling a bit overlooked by the USTA, the U.S. Tennis Association, when she was a junior. And that choice, picking Japan, I mean, it really had a massive impact on tennis history when you look back.
No doubt. And her rise professionally, it was so quick. She had this unbelievably powerful game, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Explosive power. By 16, her serve was hitting, what, over 120 miles per hour?
Just phenomenal for that age.
It really is. That serve was a huge weapon right from the start.
Yeah.
It kind of shows how effective her dad's, let's say, unconventional coaching actually was in developing her talent.
Right. Okay, let's shift gears. Chapter 2.
The Serena match that changed everything, that 2018 US Open final. Wow. Against Serena Williams, that wasn't just tennis. It felt like a major moment, culturally speaking.
Totally. It was incredibly dramatic and, yeah, extremely controversial. Naomi won convincingly, actually, 6-2, 6-4. But everything afterwards was dominated by Serena's clash with the umpire.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't quite remember, Serena got a coaching violation, then smashed her racket, got a point penalty for that, and then had that really heated argument with the umpire, Carlos Ramos, I think, calling him a thief. It all just escalated so fast.
It really did. And what's maybe most compelling is thinking about Naomi in the middle of all that chaos. She's 20 years old.
Yeah.
First Grand Slam final. She wins this huge title, and then the trophy ceremony. It's just filled with booing from the crowd.
Awful.
And her first reaction, she basically apologizes for winning, which showed, I mean, incredible composure, incredible grace for someone so young in such a, well, overwhelming situation. What did you make of that, her apologizing? It just said so much about her, didn't it? At that age, in that moment, with all that noise, to be that aware, that considerate, it was remarkable.
It was.
And thinking about it now, knowing the mental health challenges she discussed later, maybe that moment, that pressure, it sort of hinted at this deep inner strength she had, this resilience that maybe we didn't fully grasp back then.
That's a really interesting way to put it. That experience, as tough as it must have been, maybe it actually in some way helped equip her for the intense spotlight that came afterwards. Those high-pressure moments, they really can shape you.
Definitely food for thought. Okay, moving to Chapter 3, the mental health revolution. So 2021, the French Open. Naomi withdraws after being fined for skipping those mandatory press conferences. Big news.
Huge news.
And that's when she opened up publicly about struggling with depression, with anxiety, especially around media interactions.
Yeah, that was a massive moment. When she talked about having huge waves of anxiety before talking to the media, it brought a kind of vulnerability to elite sports that we just hadn't seen on that scale before.
Right.
And the reaction, like you said, it was really split, wasn't it?
It was.
Lots of people praised her bravery, her honesty, recognizing the pressure athletes are under. But others, well, others saw it differently, maybe focusing more on the obligations of being a pro athlete, sometimes mentioning privilege. It really kicked off a huge debate.
It absolutely did, and maybe a necessary one.
Hmm.
But you can't deny the wider impact her actions had, right?
No, definitely not.
Soon after, we saw other huge names like Simone Biles at the Olympics, making similar decisions, putting their mental well-being first, stepping back when they needed to. It felt like a real turning point.
Exactly. A watershed moment for sure in how we discuss athlete mental health. And Naomi's influence wasn't just limited to that. She also used her platform for social justice. Remember the 2020 US
The
Open?
masks, yeah.
Wearing masks with the names of victims of social injustice, like Breonna Taylor. It showed she was more than just a tennis player. She was an athlete engaging with really important societal issues. It added this whole other dimension to who she was publicly.
Yeah, absolutely. Which brings us to now, Chapter 4, The Comeback. After having her daughter in 2023, she's back on tour. And it's fair to say this is one of the most anticipated comebacks in sports right now.
For sure. Everyone's watching.
What do you see as the main hurdles she's facing coming back into the game at this level?
Well, the women's tour is incredibly tough right now. It keeps getting more physical, faster. You've got these younger players like Swiatek, Goff, who are really dominating.
Right.
So just getting back to that peak match fitness, that sharpness after time away, especially after childbirth, that's a huge challenge. The physical demands are just immense.
But, the raw tools are still there, aren't they? That massive power, the serve, those clean ground strokes, they're incredible.
Undeniably, her ball striking is top tier.
So if she can find that consistency again, that rhythm in matches, she's still got to be considered a major threat, right?
Mhm.
What part of her game needs to click most, do you think?
I think it's probably about regaining full confidence in her movement, her court coverage, and just executing consistently under pressure. The power's there, no question.
Yeah.
But the top players now, they'll pounce on any slight dip in sharpness. So it's about putting it all together again, the power, the tactics, the mental side. And crucially, let's not forget, she's only 26.
That's true. Still relatively young in tennis terms.
Exactly. Many players hit their absolute peak around this age or even later.
And it's interesting, too, she hasn't just been focused on tennis during her time off. She's been building things outside the court. Her skincare line, Kinlo, her sports agency, Evolve.
Right. It shows she's got this wider vision, building a presence beyond just being an athlete, which honestly might actually help her maintain some balance as she deals with the pressures of this comeback.
That makes sense. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive on Naomi Osaka's really compelling story, it leaves us with some things to think about, doesn't it? For you listening, what are your thoughts on athletes being more open about mental health? Does it change how you view them?
Yeah. And looking forward, what do you predict for Naomi's comeback? Do you think she can win another Grand Slam now after becoming a mom? What are the key factors for you?
And just thinking broadly about tennis right now, who's your favorite player in this current generation? What is it about them, their game, their story, their personality that connects with you?
Lots to consider. We definitely encourage you to keep thinking about these themes. Sports, mental well-being, athlete activism. It's a landscape that's always changing, always evolving. And it really matters how we understand and support the people involved.